superpowers that I've acquired throughout the first semester of MPX will help me when I grow older to be more successful in life. Today I'm here to share my superpowers that I've acquired and how I came to acquire them. The superpowers that I've acquired that I've learned was to manage my time better, to be more creative, to work better with others, to take better notes on research, and to construct items and use tools for it. Now, I couldn't have learned these superpowers without going through missions or objectives. And each mission or objective had a certain purpose to them, and it helped me learn a specific superpower. Now, sometimes a mission or objective would help me learn more than one superpower and have more than one purpose. The first superpower that I believe I acquired through MPX was time management. To me, time management is very important because in MPX we have a lot of projects, and in order to do good on these projects, you need to manage your time correctly so that your grades are good and you manage your time so that you do work throughout the amount of period that you have to complete the project, so that you're not scrambling at the very end to do the work and you're not overwhelmed with the work. Instead, you're doing a little bit of work every day so that you're completing a little bit every day and you're doing something. The first objective that I had to face was this Fahrenheit 451 infographic. This is the very first infographic that I ever had to do, and I didn't know how to do it. This is where I faced my first villain. This villain was called laziness. Now, the first time that I had to do this infographic, I didn't know what to do, so when I was assigned to it, all I wanted to do was put it off to the very end, just wait to see other people's ones, and then when this day before, just put something together and turn it in. But thankfully, Miss Calibro made us do a little bit every day so that I was not able to do that. Every day she did a grade check and a progress check, and I was able to do a little bit every day. And my end product, I believe, was better than if I just procrastinated and this building succeeded into being. Now, the skill that what Miss Calibro did helped me learn this superpower a lot. Because every day I had to work on this project. And every day I did a little bit more every day, and then I learned that it was less overwhelming and it was less stressful to do it all at the very end instead of doing it a little bit every day. The next objective that I was given was this POL project. Now, doing this POL project, as soon as I was given, the feeling of laziness showed itself again. And all I wanted to do was put it off, and then at the very end, just put together a script, try and memorize it, and just say it in front of all of you guys. But when I read the requirements to getting a good grade, I knew I couldn't do just that. I had to plan out how I was going to do everything and how I was going to say it, so that at the very end, on Friday when it was supposedly due in the very beginning, I would have everything done and I'd have last period of Friday doing any last minute changes. Now, every day I did at least one superpower and its objectives and missions that had to do with it in order for me to learn it. And by Friday, I had everything done, and I got it peer edited by Noah and a couple of my teachers. When I got it peer edited, it helped me a lot because I got peer feedback from the teacher, and it helped me to make my PLL more specific, and it helped me add to my plot a little bit more. Now, when I was doing this PLL, this feeling of laziness showed itself a lot. When I got home every day, all I wanted to do was just sit on the couch, play on my phone, instead of doing this project. But every time that I got home, I sat on the couch, I remembered the requirements of doing this project and how much it was worth. For MPX, this is basically our finals, and if I did junk on this, then I knew that I wouldn't get a good grade and I would get grounded. So I had to work on this every day and not procrastinate and try and defeat this villain. And by the end of Friday and when it was due on Monday, I finished and I practiced, and today I'm able to present to you guys. And that was how I defeated the villain of laziness. Now, the next superpower I believe was to be more creative. In MPX, we do a lot of infographics, and infographics are rated about in three categories. One category is creativity, the next is how to tie your information to one topic, and the last is how much information you have in your infographic. So this superpower that I learned was basically 1/3 of every single infographic that we did, and basically 1/3 assignments and other subjects such as math, we had to figure out ways to memorize theorems and postulates, and I had to think of a creative way to memorize each one, or else it would just fly right out of my head, and I would just do that on every single quiz test that we did. Now, the first objective that I was given to learn this superpower was improvement on each infographic. Every time we were given an infographic, we were given a secret mission to improve on last. And what you see in this picture was one of the very first group infographics that I ever did. As you can see, it's not very organized, it's not very creative. The information is splattered all over the place, and I don't think I got a very good grade on this. The infographic that is more now is this one. As you can see, it's more organized, the information is easier to read, and I believe I got a better grade, and I learned to be more creative because it is all tied into one topic. The roots are connected to each topic, and it is all connected to sustainability farming. The next superpower that I believe I learned was working better with my teammates. Now, in MPX, we were assigned 5 people to work with in the beginning of the year to create a hydroponic system. I needed this superpower very much because if I needed to work with my group members and get things done, I needed this superpower. Or else nothing would get done, and we would finish our hydroponic system last, and everything would be junk. It just wouldn't be good. This superpower helped me a lot because it wasn't only in MPX that it helped me, but it helped me in a lot of other subjects. And it helped me just work with other people that sometimes I wasn't used to working with, and it helped me so that I was able to compromise with them, and so that it wasn't just I wanted it my way, and it wasn't always their way. We were able to compromise and find something somewhere in between. Now, this objective that helped me learn this superpower was our hydroponic system. Every time that we worked on our hydroponic system was twice every week. We had to get a little bit done every day, and in order to do this, we had to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. For example, Cole was good at building, and Daniel was good at scale models and scale drawing. So when we were given a task to complete one or the other, we knew who to give it to or who to help, and we would check it with, so that we had to make sure that it was up to their standards because they were the best at doing what they're doing. So when we had to do our scale drawings for the hydroponic system, we had to do a side, top, bottom, and the other side. So every time we finished, we had to give it to Danny to make sure that everything was to scale, everything was good, measurements were good, and if it was not good, then we had to go back, fix it. She would tell us what we did wrong, so that when we turned it in, we would all get a good grade on it. The next thing that we learned was, our next objective was to KCC. Now in KCC, we had to cook a lot. We learned to follow a recipe. We learned how to measure up ingredients. And this is where another villain showed itself. This villain was called miscommunication. Now, every time we went into the kitchen, in the beginning when we went into the kitchen, we didn't really have a plan. We didn't know what to do. We were basically, okay, you can do that, and nobody made sure that it was done. So the most recent time that we went to KCC, we forgot to do something in the recipe, and our couscous did not turn out the way we wanted to, and it didn't taste very well. So the next time that we're going to go, we plan so that before we even enter the kitchen and we got our recipe, we make sure that everybody was given a task, a general task, so it was not specific, and our other group members that were in the group trying to work on other things would make sure that each person would get their task done, so that it wasn't at the very ending we were scrambling to make sure that something was done and an ingredient was put in, so that it was too late. I think that when the next time that we go and we do this planning out and making sure that we're gonna do what we're supposed to do, it's gonna defeat this villain called miscommunication, because there won't be any miscommunication, because everybody will be responsible for one thing or one or two things, and every other group member would superpower that I learned was take better notes on research. Now in MPX, we're a lot of times we're told that we don't learn anything, and we don't learn from the textbook, so we have to learn from somewhere, and that's from doing research. Now, when I do research, my notes are very important to me because most of the time when I look up something, it just goes into my head for a couple of seconds and then right back out the other ear. Now, but when I take notes, then I can always look back on it to make sure that I'm doing something correct, so that when something comes up, like an infographic that we have to do, I can always look back on my notes to make sure that the information that I have is correct and I'm putting enough information into my infographic to get a good grade. Now, the first objective to help me learn the superpower was STEM homework. Every time that Mr. Kaneko gave us homework, it was basically doing notes on video or just notes on research or an article. Now, every time that I had to do research notes, Mr. Kaneko would have standards that we had to meet, and it had to have images, it had to be organized, and it had to have enough information to fill at least a page and a half. So when I was doing my research and I was doing my notes every time for Mr. Kaneko, in order to get a good grade, I had to meet his standards, and eventually it became a habit. Now, not every single time I was able to do my notes in school, so I had to do them at home. This is where I met another woman, and this woman was called What Happens. Every time I got home, I didn't really care to do homework, so I just went back to my old habits sometimes. And before I came to MPX, my notes were usually just scattered around everywhere, not organized, no picture, just not very good. So in order to defeat this villain, I had to remember all the good habits and all the standards that Mr. Kaneko had in order to get a good grade on my notes. And so that if I ever looked back on it, I wouldn't be just like, what is this? And I would actually have an idea of what I learned through this article. The next objective that I was given was book annotations. Now, usually book annotations have nothing to do with taking notes on research, but in a way it helped me. Every time that we had to do book annotation, we had to thoroughly read the page and annotate, and it had to make sense. So when we annotated, it helped me with my reading comprehension. So when it helped me with my reading comprehension, it helped me when I was reading articles, so I could help me better understand what I was reading, so that I could take better notes, and it was more in depth, and it was easy for me, so that when I look back on it, it explained more of the article that I read before, and it wasn't just small key points, and it wouldn't help me at all. The last superpower that I believe I've acquired in MPX is how to build things and how to use tools correctly. Now, this superpower is more trial and error than ever, and it took a lot of work to learn how to use power tools and plans and how to drill things correctly and stuff like that. So I had to go through a lot of experience and trial and make a lot of mistakes in order to finally get it correct, so that by the time we came to our hydroponic system, it wasn't making mistakes, it was actually good, and we didn't have to keep going back to fix what we did wrong. Now, the first objective that helped me learn the superpower was that Danny's father came to visit. Before I came to MPX, I didn't really even know how to use a power drill and how to drill two pieces of wood together. But when Danny's father came to visit, he taught us pretty much the basics of wood drilling and how to a stronger way to drill wood together so that it's more stable and what we build is better and it'll last longer. So when he taught me the easy, simple things like this, when I went out to build on work days, things became more simple. It wasn't always complicated, like what side of the wood do I turn it on to drill it in, which side do I drill on, and stuff like that. It was more like how do I cut it, stuff like that. It was more complicated problems that I had to worry about, and more simple things were easier to remember. So the more that I worked, the more my knowledge branched out, and the more better I became at using tools and drilling. And by the time we finished and we got to our hydroponic system, our system was very stable. I believe it was very stable, and fall over or break down anytime soon. The last objective was our planning. Now this is primarily where you learn how to use tools, power tools. Every time that we had to drill something, we take turns, as Cole was with our builder. He already had his drills, so he would mostly just monitor what we were doing so that we weren't doing anything terribly wrong, and we were doing things right. And our table, when we finished, was stable, and as you can see, it's not falling over, it's not uneven, and it's okay. I think it's okay. So when I was building this table, I learned how to use the drill, the impactor. I learned how to measure, cut, and all that. So when we finished our table was more than what I expected. I thought it was going to be just some small little table and it was going to tip over anytime somebody pushed it. It actually became something that would stand and you could actually do something, put something on it. And I think that it was good and I was proud of myself for actually learning how to use tools. Before that I could never do this on my own. But now I believe that if I'm given the right tools and the correct materials, I can do this on my own and build a table. Now, throughout my course of MPX, my whole semester of MPX 9, first semester, I learned many superpowers and I had to go through many objectives and missions to actually learn these superpowers. And I believe when I grow older, these superpowers will not just help me in school, but it'll help me in life. So that when I grow older, it'll help me become more successful as a person and not just in school or just on work. And it'll actually help me so that when I get a job, I can put these skills that I learned in MPX to use. And I'm not just that guy that does nothing and just sits at a desk and does paperwork. Instead, I could actually do a job that I enjoy and I could be outside and doing what I like, working with tools or stuff like that. Thanks for watching.